we're focused on learning the offense. It really doesn't change in terms of our approach to improve. You know, there's an if. Obviously been a lingering theme, but you know, nothing can replace all the greatness that we achieved together.
That was Jalen Hurts on A.J. Brown yesterday, and we get it. Breakups can be tough, but we are thrilled to have this man back in studio. He is the Hall of Famer Ray Didinger, along with Barrett Brooks. I'm Ashlyn Sullivan, and this is Birds Huddle presented by Toyota. And Ray, there is never, it doesn't matter what season we're getting ready for, there is never a lack of drama sometimes around here.
No, it doesn't seem that way. I mean, but some stories are new, and then some stories are all too familiar. And one of them is, Jalen Hurts has another new offensive coordinator. Right. I mean, that's like every year. And some people downplay that and say, oh, come on, it's just plays. I mean, no, it's real different. And what they've asked this guy to do year after year to change, to somebody hands him a new playbook and says, learn this, that's not the way it works with elite quarterbacks generally. So he's going to have to learn a new system. But we'll see what Sean Mannion represents. We'll see what he brings to the town. But the one thing we do know is it's going to be a lot different than what you saw last year.
You can already tell that Jalen Hurts, his sixth offensive coordinator in 6 seasons. And next month, Ray will be hosting a celebration of patriotic sports movies with Glenn Macnow at the PCS Theater in Swarthmore. We'll talk a lot more about that later on. But let's dig into these Eagles. It's time for our 3-point stance presented by Toyota. Stance number 1, an A.J. Brown trade. It just seems imminent at this point. Ray, June 1st, when the cap ramifications lessen for the Eagles, it makes more sense for the Eagles after June 1st. Do you think this is going to happen on that day to the Patriots, A.J. Brown to the Eagles? Can we finally just put it to rest?
Yeah, I think imminent is probably the best word. I mean, is it going to actually happen on June 1st? I don't know. Could be the 2nd, the 3rd, but I think it's coming. I think we all feel that. And you know, as good as A.J. has been, and you look at, all you have to do is look at the numbers, and you see he's been one of the most productive receivers in the history of this franchise, to be perfectly frank, and definitely helped them win the Super Bowl. But I think the relationship and his own lack of comfort in the way things are going here, I think it's reached the point that kind of a no return. And I think they're going to make the trade. And then the question is, okay, what's the return? Because I think everybody around the league knew that this was going to happen. They knew the Eagles were going to move on from him. And sometimes that will hurt your trade value. So now what do you see? I think in terms of his value as a player, I think he should get you no less than a first-round draft pick.
Absolutely.
But will you get that for him? I don't know. I know that's what the Eagles are asking for. And frankly, I think he's worth that.
Absolutely. He should get a first rounder, and everybody's saying, Art, can they, really go without AJ? We're going to go on and just, piecemeal it together. No, I mean, this life after AJ, and they're going to go about it a lot differently than what we've seen. But, yes, I mean, he wants to go. They're going to let him go. But we've got to be awarded at least a first rounder for him because they're taking out one of the top 5 receivers out of our locker room. So we got to be compensated accordingly for it. So I think it's going to be a first rounder and more that will be compensated for it.
And that's why I'm fascinated, Ray, because everyone makes it seem like it's got to get done on June 1st. And we've all been waiting for this day. But if we know anything about Howie Roseman, he doesn't go to the timeline that everyone says he is. So I think, in my opinion, Howie's going to wait until he gets what he wants to get for this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but he has the fit there. I mean, he's got the team that really needs a receiver like this is New England, and they're a really good team. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl last year, but they don't have any receivers anywhere close to what this guy is. And you got a young quarterback who needs that kind of receiver to reach his own true ability. So, and the coach of that team is a coach that had A.J. Brown down in Tennessee. They had great success together, and they have a real healthy relationship. It is the perfect football marriage just waiting to happen. I think that's what it's going to be. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. But I think you're right in saying that Howie's not just going to do it to do it. It's going to be he's going to negotiate this thing. And I really think a lot of people around the league say, oh, they're not going to get a number 1 for him. I'm sure that's what they're asking for, and to me, that's his true value.
It's all about just now, how much does it cost? It's going to be fascinating how this all plays out. Now to stance number 2, Jalen Hurts is happy with the new offense. He sung the praises of new offensive coordinator Sean Mannion yesterday. He also discussed how this offense is going to look a little different. Take a listen.
From a pass game standpoint, as things have evolved, we were very one-on-one dependent, trying to find a matchup instead of full flow, West Coast style offense. So it's a component where I think it's up to how we put it all together. And I got a lot of good trust in where we are right now to, be hopeful of what's to come.
And Ray, we get it, it's OTAs, right? But one thing we noticed, a lot more plays under center for Jalen Hurts yesterday at OTAs and a lot more play action, which was encouraging, I thought.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you look at last year, this team was near the bottom of the league in terms of plays quarterback under center. I know that is not Jalen Hurts' preferred way of playing. Some quarterbacks feel that way, but I think the offense, it gives the offense more diversity. I think it certainly helps your play-action running game. It helps with the play-action running game. And I think they also need downfield. I think they need more combination routes among the receivers. I think there was way too much of the one-on-one kind of game that was going on. It's part of the reason they were a predictable team. I think one thing with Sean Mannion you can say is they will not be nearly as predictable as they were last year.
Got to bring
I'm happy to see that, yeah.
Yeah, more creativity to this offense, right? As we go to stance number 3, Saquon Barkley is going to flourish in this new offense. After a record-setting 2024 season, Barkley did not have near the same level of success last season in 2025, but he's looking at one back in particular to see how he can have success. Take a listen.
One guy that I've been focused on and talked to him a little bit over Instagram, Todd Gurley, watching kind of his film. Obviously it's a little bit different, but the big years that he had when he was playing and when he was healthy, the way that he attacked it. But I do that no matter what in offseason. Watch guys that are in the league right now who I'm fans of, the Bijan, the Gibbs, McCaffrey, Henry, Jonathan Taylor's of the world, and also go back to the OGs and watch them to see what I can add to my game, and just always looking forward to improving my game also.
Saquon saying he reached out to Todd Gurley on Instagram, and here's what Gurley did in 2017 and 18 with the Rams and Sean McVay. While Sean Mannion was his teammate, you see a whole lot of involvement in the passing game. So the question is, can Saquon Barkley have that level of impact? Ray, we saw 2 passes yesterday of Saquon Barkley in OTAs. I thought that was promising as well.
Yeah, I think that his role in this offense, I think his point is right. I think he's very much of a Gurley kind of player, Todd Gurley kind of player. And I think that it'll be a good fit for him. People kind of forget how good a receiver he is. I mean, his rookie year, he caught 91 passes. So you can use him in that part of the game a lot, and you should. I think this team didn't do that nearly enough. But you look at last year compared to the year before in terms of Saquon's production. I mean, he averaged 5.8 yards per carry, almost 6 yards a carry the year they won the Super Bowl. Last year, 4.1. So that's an indication that they weren't getting nearly out of him what they want to get out of him. And I think in this new offense with a new look and some new philosophies and some new approaches, I think it is going to be a really good fit for Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely, and just looking from the run game, of course we're going to see from the pass game, because you saw it was evident in practice. But then when you look at the run game and, with Jalen being under center and handing the ball off there, it gets a running back a better view of what's going on in front of him when he doesn't have his shoulders turned to the line of scrimmage, as he, from a shotgun position. He's got his shoulder pass square to the line of scrimmage. He can set up block. He can see where the hole is developing. He can see a whole lot more from that vantage point when he's coming from under center and balls getting handed to him. So I just think you're going to see a more explosive game. And you're going to see a guy that's going to be able to run. And, hopefully we don't get hit in the backfield as much as we did last year. And I think it's going to come with them understanding how to do this track blocking, blocking his space instead of blocking a man. This is going to be a system that I think he's going to flourish in, and he's going to be very, very good in this offense simply because his shoulder pads will be square to the line of scrimmage.
Hey, why Philly coming?
I was definitely shocked, definitely.
Philly just traded for you. I love it. This is Philly. They just traded for you. Philly's picking you right now.
We just traded up. We're picking you. You're an Eagle. Congrats, brother. Let's do it.
Hey, we traded up. We took Makai Lemon.
There was some good drama on draft night as the Eagles traded up to get Makai Lemon, leapfrogging the Steelers in the process. Ray Didinger is here with us, and Ray, it's been a busy offseason, as it always is here in Philadelphia, so we wanted you to grade the key moves so far. Let's start with that one, Makai Lemon. What did you think of that trade and how the Eagles got another star receiver?
Well, I think overall, I think Howie's done a really good job this offseason with the draft, which I thought was really good, and adding Grenard on the defense. I think Howie has once again done a really good job fortifying this team. And as far as Lemon goes, Barrett and I were just talking about this before we went on air. I had him co-equals as the best receiver in this class. Wow. He did win the Biletnikoff Award as the top receiver in college football last year. And people would consider him undersized, and he is on the smaller side. But he does the one thing a receiver has to do. He catches the ball. I mean, if the ball hits him in the hands, it's caught. And he's very quick in and out of his breaks. And he's physical for a guy his size. He'll break some tackles. And, I mean, everybody's sort of categorizing him as a slot receiver, and that's where he played mostly at Southern Cal. But I think he's got more versatility than that. He can do a lot of different things. And he's always open, and he always catches the ball. And a guy like that, it's going to help any offense.
Absolutely. And then, you know, what he brings to this offense is an attitude. I think that's the biggest thing, his attitude. Like, he wants to be the best player on the field. He's going to go out there and work to be that type of player. And I just think he'll work well here in Philadelphia because he has that Philadelphia type of attitude. You know, all right, I don't care if you don't like me, but watch me as I go out and catch this first down pass. Watch me go out there and catch balls in the middle of the field. Oh, you thought you were going to knock me out, but no, I caught it, able to fall down, get what I needed to get. He has that type of attitude. I think attitude alone is why I picked him as my best receiver. He may not have this, you know, this raw speed like that, but I tell you what, his quickness and the way he moves around and understanding of what he needs to do in the offense is where he, you know, picks up as far as, you know, him becoming the player he needs to be.
I think that in looking at all these, and there were some very good receivers in this draft. I mean, I gave first-round grades to 6 guys, which is unusual at one position. But in terms of getting in and out of breaks and accelerating in and out of breaks, he was the best of the bunch.
Absolutely.
He really was, and I think the fans will really like this guy.
He was rocking the gold cleats at practice this week, and you can tell that Philadelphia is definitely going to like this guy. How about the second round when they drafted Eli Stowers with the 54th pick? Another guy that the Eagles are trying to include in the offense right away.
Elite athleticism is what you say with him. He tested better, and I don't necessarily always go by the tests at the combine because I think sometimes they were misleading, but sometimes they're not. And you look at a guy with 4.5 speed, and a guy who has a 45-inch vertical jump. You combine that with really good hands. I think the Eagles got a steal here. I think this guy, even in the second round, I had him with a low first-round grade. I thought the Eagles to get him in the second round. It was really good. And, look, he's not going to push out Dallas Goedert right now because Dallas Goedert's coming off a great year himself. But that other tight end position, when they go with 2 tight ends on the field, now that other tight end will be a receiving threat. And he can test you down the seam. And he catches, again, a lot like Lemon, catches everything that touches his hands. The one area, and this is not surprising considering he was a quarterback who has been transitioned over to tight end. So he's not the most physical guy. And he's not going to be, you shouldn't be asking him to do a whole lot of blocking. But in terms of just getting open, getting deep, catching the football, I think he's the best tight end in this group. And that's why he won the John Mackey Award last year as the best tight end in college football.
Yeah, he's just a guy that's going to be a matchup nightmare because if you put a linebacker on him, he's faster than all linebackers. Then you put a safety on him. They're just too small to go out there and try to, you know, get a 50-50 ball from him. And I think his understanding of the offense and what defenses are trying to do to him, because he was a quarterback and he kind of still thinks like a quarterback, he'll put you in a greater position. If he sees something, he can throttle down if he sees somebody coming over the top and you got to fit a tight ball in, or he might just let it go, you know, throw his hand up because he said, all right, this guy isn't good enough for me. So those little nuances that he'll have because he was a former quarterback will really help him out and you know, him becoming a better player as he goes on.
It was encouraging to see Stowers and Lemon practicing with the first-team offense already in OTAs. You can tell the Eagles are wasting no time with this. And during draft weekend, the Eagles dealt a pair of third-round picks to the Vikings for Jonathan Grenard. They signed him to a 4-year, $100 million contract. How would you grade that move, Ray?
A move they had to make, obviously, losing Jalen Phillips. They had to replace that guy, that pass rush, that force on the edge. And I think Grenard is a very good pickup. If you saw him through his college career, he's just a pure pass rusher. And since he's gotten to the NFL, he's become a better run defender, too. But what he really is a get after the quarterback defender. And we've seen him in a couple different systems. He came up with Houston originally, had double-digit sacks with Houston, went to Minnesota with a double-digit sack guy there. Last year, injuries slowed him down, so his numbers fell off a little bit. But if he's healthy, I mean, he's a guy that will play much in the mold of what Jalen Phillips was. And, look, the Eagles' defense is really good. They don't need a whole lot, but in the NFL, you can never have too much pass rush, okay? And this guy will help them in that area.
You watch him in practice. He knows what his job is going to be. He's going to have to get after the quarterback. And during practice yesterday, instead of him, just wasting time, when he wasn't out there with the rest of the defense, he was running sprints with the kickers and long snappers, trying to get in shape because he knows third down, the money down, he's going to have to be there. So I can see him using – that's just him being a veteran guy, a veteran move, knowing, hey, I got to get out this quarterback. Let me get in shape so I can play every single down. So I love that.
I love that, too. Racing Jake Elliott, I was like, what is this guy doing here? Just for fun, getting his feet up. That was cool to see.